talking about some of the city services. The first one, we got the email from the police chief the other day. Please don't call 911 if you see people that you think are breaking the stay safe order. Is this something you're trying to really hammer right now?
We are. So it's really important for folks to know that if they have concerns, we want them to call 311.
Okay.
We want 911 to be available for emergencies. And the struggle right now is a lot of people are calling 911 and they're getting a bit overwhelmed. And so if it's not emergency, please call 311. And our intent is to make sure that we're educating people and letting them know what the expectation is. But we're getting inundated with people calling, and we just want to be mindful of what's emergency needs to go to 911, what's not can go to 311.
Okay, other things, city services, you mentioned parking in particular. What are some other points that you want to hit right now as far as how city services are being affected maybe and or changing?
Yeah, so a couple of note I want to make sure people know about.
Yeah.
Uh, so the first one is that our deadline for city income taxes were pushed back to July 31st.
Okay.
So I'll make sure that folks know that. I've gotten a number of calls about that. So federal and state got pushed back to July 15th, and city income taxes were pushed back to July 31st.
Okay.
For city services, we continue to provide all of our essential city services. So obviously police and fire, refuse. If there's a water main that breaks, we're going to be out there to fix it. Our public service around water and sewer are still obviously actively, our workers there are actively working every day. People have contacted me about yard waste. We will start picking up a yard waste on April 6th, and then we'll open up our yard waste site on April 14th. And I know a lot of people are home, so they're out doing yard work, which is great. Love seeing people outside getting some fresh air. But we're not going to open up those early before the governor's executive order is up, at least the yard waste site at this point.
Yeah, and that's actually, I'm one of the many people who's gotten a voicemail from Republic Services saying your garbage has to fit completely in your bin. We're getting too much right now.
Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about the Grand Rapids wave. Is that everything encompassing what we're talking about, or is that something separate? I'm working from home, so I am a little less plugged in than I normally would be.
Yeah, we're also trying to support ideas that we're getting where people, even though we're isolated and we're staying in our home, how do we make sure that people know that they're not alone and that we're all in this together? So an idea was to get outside every night at 7:30 and wave to your neighbors, take a walk, and just remind people that even though we're staying in our homes, we're still in this together, and we're still a community, and we're still neighbors. And there's lots of other ideas that have come in. So we have children who are home right now who are decorating their windows and putting things and messages on their windows or with chalk on the sidewalk, sending positive messages to one another that we're in this together, that we're going to get through this together. This is a moment in time, but it's not going to last forever. And so just thinking of the little things that we can do to support each other. This is a really, really difficult time for everyone.
Mm-hmm. And I could not have been more off on what I thought that Grand Rapids wave policy was. So I appreciate you clarifying that for me.
It's just going out on your porch and waving to a neighbor.
I like that because I mentioned the other day on my Facebook page, it seems like I'm seeing more of my neighbors now than I ever have been from a safe distance while we're walking down the street.
Yeah.
One thing I wanted to bring up in particular, one of the things we've been getting from people a lot lately, and I know this is maybe from the state, but they're seeing golf courses in and around the city that are open right now. And this is actually causing a lot of confusion, actually some concern from people. Can you address that at all, the fact that so many golf courses are open right now?
Well, the governor just put out a pretty explicit executive order saying that they need to be closed.
Oh, she did do that today.
So our golf course is closed. And at least during this stay home, stay safe period, those are expected to be.
That's what happens when you spend the morning taking care of your 2-year-old before you start working.
Hey, it's hard to keep up on all of the news. Another directive that came from our health department, and I want to remind folks of this in the city because we have so many great parks. Playgrounds are closed, but you can still get out and take walks. We have a lot of great trails, a lot of open green spaces. You can go out and throw frisbees with your children and still do stuff, in the green open space, but the equipment and the playground, the playground equipment and the items around it, the benches and things, we're going to ask people to stay off that.
Okay. I only had one other prepared question, and it didn't have to do with your press release, but I'm seeing, I think it was Spectrum, that is preparing beds at CHS, I think it was Spectrum. How
Yeah.
close in contact are you with city hospitals and some of the provisions that they're trying to make in anticipation of a likely rush of COVID patients?
Yeah, to give you a little insight of what's been happening here at City Hall over the last week, we have an internal emergency operating team set up, and we meet daily, and we also are every day meeting with and connecting with our Kent County Health Department. So because this is a public health crisis, the health department has been taking a lead on a number of issues. So we are working every single day with them. We are getting regular updates from Spectrum, and we're well aware that they're preparing for a surge. So I feel very confident that our community is prepared to care for the individuals who potentially either need testing, but also who test positive for COVID-19. So we are in regular conversations. I'm also in regular conversations with our chambers of commerce, so the Hispanic Chamber and the Grand Rapids Chamber and the Right Place. A lot of our businesses are struggling right now. You know, they at a drop of a hat found out that they needed to close. And many of them are very concerned how they're going to get through this downturn and open their doors back up. So we're trying hard as a community to provide resources and information. The Small Business Association just released information on how small businesses can apply for loans as well as grants. So if you're a small business, I encourage you to reach out to them or contact our local Chamber of Commerce. And then we've been in close conversation with our United Way. So United Way is taking the lead on helping to meet emergent needs that families have. So there's a coronavirus response fund that has been set up. And if you are able to give, I strongly encourage you to give. There's a lot of people in need right now. Through the United Way, you can also sign up to volunteer. So there's a lot of nonprofits that still need volunteers in order to help the people that need help right now. Particularly around delivering items. So people who can't get out of their home because they're high risk, we want to make sure that they have food and the staples they need. So if you want to volunteer, you can go onto United Way and there's a volunteer page that you can sign up on. So we're in close communication and contact with all of our partners in the community, just trying to make sure that we're working together closely to not just respond to all of the urgent needs that we have right now, but then to think about what is our plan for recovery when we get through this, which we will get through it. And I keep reminding people, we're going to focus on responding to the needs that we have today, but we're going to look to the future and we're going to come up with an aggressive plan for recovery.
Yeah, for reasons both good and bad, this is a remarkable time we find ourselves in right now, Mayor.
Sure.
All right. I appreciate the time very much. Is there anything else you wanted to touch on before I let you go?
One more thing.
One more thing.
And I know it's not top of mind for everyone, but I'm encouraging people, while you are home, you will be getting information about the 2020 census.
Yes.
So while you're home, take 10 minutes and fill out that census. I got mine in the mail. I'll be reminding people to fill out your census all next week. There's a lot going on and it's easy to put things on the back burner right now. But that's just one simple thing that we can do to help out the community, because the participation in the census is critical even right now. And I think right now we can highlight the fact that a lot of the state and federal dollars, they are getting allocated based on a formula that incorporates data from the census. So even the money that we're going to get today to help with this crisis, it is based on census data. So we need people to just take 10 minutes and fill out that census form. You can go online, you can put it in the mail, but help us get those census forms turned in so that we can all get counted.